Hello, my name is Dan Wright. I'm a registered nurse and a musician from Ghana, living and working in the UK, specifically in Scotland. In this video, I'm going to show you the step-by-step process which I used to immigrate from Ghana to the UK. This video is going to serve as a comprehensive guide to walk you through the process, and if this is something you would like to do, I hope you find value in this video and it helps you achieve your dreams. I've divided the video into 3 parts. In part 1, I'm going to walk you through the process by which you can register with the NMC UK. In part 2, we are going to talk about how you're going to secure a job as a nurse or a midwife in the UK. And in part 3, we are going to talk about visas and immigrations, how you're going to apply your visa, and finally and ultimately immigrate to the UK. So the first thing you're going to do is to register with the NMC. That will help you to demonstrate to a prospective employer in the UK that you have the qualification needed to be employed in the UK. And that registration is done on the NMC online website. I'm going to attach a link to the website in the description. Before you register with the NMC, and specifically on the NMC online website, there are requirements. So we're going to go through the requirements just now. The first thing you need is to provide an identity evidence. And by an identity evidence, I mean a passport. The NMC specifically requires you to provide your passport, which definitely is going to bear your name, your passport number, the issuing country, the date of expiry, and etc. Basically, your passport. That is your identity evidence. After that, the NMC will ask you to provide your nursing qualification certificate, either a degree or a diploma. In my case, I provided a degree certificate from the University of Health and Allied Sciences. After that, you have to provide your certificate of registration as a nurse, issued by your regulator in your home country. If you have never been registered with your regulator, let's say you are a fresh graduate from school, you can still state that to the NMC, but then the NMC would contact the regulator to know whether you would have been qualified to practice in your home country. So after you have provided your passport, your school qualification certificate, and your certificate of registration as a nurse in your home country, you'll be required to pay an evaluation fee of £140. After you pay the evaluation fee, the NMC will now do a background check on you and give you approval to go ahead with the process. After you have gotten approval from the NMC, then it is now time to move on to the next process, which is the test of competence. The test of competence is broken down into 2. You have the computer-based test, also known as the CBT, and you have the objective structured clinical examinations, known as the OSCE. These exams can be taken anyhow. By anyhow, I mean you can take the OSCE first or the CBT first. But in practice, and in my case, I took the CBT because if you have your English language requirement certificate to show that you have met the requirements by the NMC and you have your CBT, some employers in the UK are willing to sponsor you through your visas, your ticketing, and getting you into the UK and help you register for the OSCE and set your OSCE exam. So in practice and from my experience, I would advise that you take the CBT. However, if you have the means to self-sponsor yourself, you can decide to take the exam how best it suits your situation. So now let me delve a bit deeper into the test of competence. The CBT is broken down into 2 parts. Part A is numeracy and part B is the clinical part. The numeracy, which is the part A, comprises of 15 questions which will be answered within 30 minutes. If you require a calculator for the numeracy, don't worry, you can access a calculator on your test date on the computer. However, you can even take a calculator if you do require a calculator to do the numeracy. But trust me, if you have passed an exam to be registered as a nurse in your home country, this is no different. You are smart enough to pass. Part B of the CBT comprises of 100 questions which will be answered in 2 hours, 30 minutes. 90% of these questions are generic and general nursing questions, with 10% being field specific, which means that if you are a midwife or mental health nurse, only 10% of the questions are going to be specifically related to your field. The second part of the test of competence, which is the OSCE, as at the current moment has 10 stations, and it is used to assess your skills, your values, your behavior, and evidence-based practice. So in my case, after I had taken my IELTS, I had to proceed to take on my CBT. The next step is to provide an English language evidence to the NMC that you are proficient in English language, such that you can write, you can read, and definitely interpret English language. And that is done in 2 ways. The NMC accepts 2 forms of test as proof of English language. I know there are other ways, but let's face it, the reality is that in most cases, for most people, you are going to write either English language testing system, which is known as the IELTS, or the occupational English test, which is known as the OET. There are other ways, but most people, especially in Africa and other parts of the world, do not qualify. So in practice and in reality, you are going to write or have to submit a test report of either these tests, IELTS or OET, to prove that you meet the standards by the NMC. For IELTS, the IELTS is broken down into 4 sections. And in all 4 sections, you need at least band 7 in listening, reading, speaking, and at least band 6.5 in writing. For the OET, at least you need grade B in listening, reading, and speaking, and at least grade C+ in writing. However, according to the NMC's guidance on registration of language requirements, a document dated February 2023, there is hope. And the hope here is that you can combine 2 test settings within a period of 12 months. For the IELTS, now you need a band of 6.5 for listening, reading, speaking, and at least a band of 6 for writing when you combine 2 tests. For the OET, your grades must be at least C+ in listening, reading, and speaking, and at least grade C in writing. The conditions are the same for the OET. The test should have been taken within 12 months. So if you have achieved the needed requirement, congratulations. I'm going to make a separate video and show you practically how you can combine 2 tests within 12 months. The next thing you're going to provide is your health evidence. You will need your doctor to certify that you are fit to practice as a nurse in the UK. So what you do is that you submit the details of the doctor who is going to certify your fitness, their address, their email, and the NMC is going to contact them to fill out this reference. After you have provided your health evidence, the next thing you are required to provide is your character evidence. In most cases, the character evidence is a police clearance form stating that you don't have any criminal charges or criminal convictions, clearing you of all criminal charges, basically. After that, the next thing is to confirm that you would have a professional indemnity in place. A professional indemnity is an insurance cover that will protect you while you practice in the UK in case of negligence or in case you are sued for something you have done. And in most cases, especially with the NHS, an indemnity is in place for all workers, and in private healthcare like care homes and nursing homes, most companies also have a professional indemnity. So you don't have to worry about that. You just have to check the box in the NMC online that you would have a professional indemnity arrangement in place while you practice. So finally, if you get to this point, then congrats. What you have to do now is to pay your registration fee of £153. Yeah. Now let's go to part 2. This is the part where you're going to apply for jobs in the UK. And oh my, this can be very challenging and very frustrating. I have a story to this I'm going to share with you when I make a dedicated video for job hunting. I think I made over 200 applications. There are certain websites that when I was applying back then, I was told that these are the sites you can use to apply. And I made over 100 applications in track.jobs alone. Guess how many offers I got? 1. So if you are particularly in this situation where you are applying for jobs and you are not finding any or you're not getting any response, keep on applying. Do not give up, because it is very competitive out there. It is very challenging, and it can be emotionally draining, physically draining, and you just name it. So keep your hopes up, keep applying, and hopefully you'll catch a break. I'm going to make a separate video and talk about how you can effectively write a resume or a CV and apply for jobs and hopefully get one and immigrate to the UK. Finally, you've gotten a job and now you are at the point where you have to apply for a visa and move to the UK. These are the things you need. You need to submit an application to the gov.uk website. After you submitted an application, you're going to pay a visa fee depending on the certificate of sponsorship provided by your employer. A certificate of sponsorship is more like a document stating that you have been offered employment in the UK which has a unique identity number that you're going to submit to the High Commission in your country for your visa to be processed. In my case, my employer was willing to sponsor my trip to the UK, that is, pay for my visa fees, my flight ticket, and also cover my expenses for the OSCE training and the exam. That is why I would advise that you keep applying, because that was not always the case. The first offer I got, my relocation package was a loan. I was just lucky enough that later on got an offer which was going to definitely cover all my expenses for free. In my case, after I submitted the application, I had to go to the appointment office for my biometric to be taken and submit my passport. And yes, this is also the nerve-wracking part, where you have about 14 working days to wait for the decision to be made about your application. Hopefully, everything goes well, you get your visa, and then you are ready to immigrate to the UK. I hope you found value in this video, and if you did, I would encourage you to click the like button so that this video will be pushed by the recommendation system for more people to see it. Share with your friends, and see you in another video. Voila!